Be so kind to look down inside. I want you to add up all the numbers that you see. Done? Wow. Okay, she is ready to rock and roll. Okay. Put your hand on top then. The only way I can figure out this number, I'm going to write down a prediction on the outside of this envelope, by the way. The only way I can get this number is if I get your mind off the number and on something else. We play a game of word association. Okay. I'll say a word. You'll say the first one that pops into your mind. Keep in mind there are no right or wrong answers. It's just for fun. Okay. Here's the game. The word is yarn. Knitting. Okay. How about Sasquatch? Hairy. Ooh, good one. Good descriptive word. How about banana? Yellow. Nutella? Good. And let's do gluten.
Is that a word?
Yeah. You know what? I'll take it. That actually tells me something about, close your eyes actually, that might have given yourself away. That is an unusual response. I'm going to go with this number. As they say in school, pencils down. Miss, yes or no, are you thinking of a 2-digit number?
Yes.
Good. Team, don't say anything. Don't say it. Keep it in your head. Don't say it out loud. I'm going to go with this. Can't change my mind. Miss, what number are you thinking of?
14.
Give her a round of applause. Fantastic. 14. Wow. Back in line you go. Now, because I know how all my friends think up here, I say we turn the tables on them. I know how they think, so we turn the tables. This time, we will play a game where I will not pluck a thought out of your head. I will now attempt to send you a thought. And that you will hopefully pick up on it and perceive it as your own original idea, using some numbered envelopes on the outside. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You see inside of one, and only one of these envelopes is something that I don't want you to have. I'd rather keep it for myself, quite frankly. And don't worry, it's not that $1 bill. It's long gone. So here's the game. I'm going to make a statement. The statement is so carefully crafted that you will be forced to pick the envelope that I want you to pick. Here's the statement. There are 5 envelopes, only one of which has something of value. The other 4 are worthless. Miss, you'll go first. There'll be 3 people after you. It's literally up to you. Which one would you like it to be?
4.
Why 4? Just random. You feel good with 4. Sir, what would you like?
2.
Number 2. Now, what, because you're second in line, is that why 2? Maybe? We're not sure. We're not sure. Sir, what would you like?
Number 5.
Number 5, which is a number for the end, although you're not on the end. Why 5? Were you born in May? Do you come from a family of 5 people?
Yes.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. That's a lucky guess. All right, sir. It's either 1 or 3. It's either 1 or 3.
No, it's not 4.
I have 4.
She has 4. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Okay. What would you like, sir? 1 or 3?
3.
3. I will give you 1 second to change your mind. 1, 0, final answer?
I'm committing.
3?
Yes.
Give him a round of applause. Very good. Okay? Guys, please feel your envelopes. You should feel as though there is something inside, yes? Would you also be so kind to show off your selection to the group like a human marquee? Keep it up there so everyone can see. Hold that spot. Don't look right there. Very good. Team, they left me with envelope number 1. And the thing that's inside one of these envelopes, the thing I didn't want them to have, is a check from my personal bank account. And whoever picked the envelope with the check inside gets to take it home. It's just that simple. Miss, they left me with envelope number 1. Would you please take envelope number 1? And in a loud, clear voice so everyone can hear you, is it sealed?
Yes.
Yes? Please crack open the envelope, remove the contents, and hand it to me. Again, only one envelope has a check inside, and sir, on the end, you were so close. You should always change your mind. You should always change your mind. Yes, I'll take that from you. Very simple. What is this so they can all hear you?
It's a check.
It's a check, 1 and 5. Woohoo! Central Texas College. Okay, not impressed by this. I know what you're thinking, Ben. That's only 20%, right? The math department's only 1 and 5. Big deal. But don't worry, there's more. Miss, there's a message that is printed on the back of the check. Would you be so kind in a loud, booming voice? What does that say?
It says, woohoo! Congratulations, you selected the envelope with the check inside. Now go crazy and throw a party. But please wait until the first of the month to deposit.
Very good. There are always people who are curious as to how much money was on the line. Could you also read off the dollar amount? $3,000.
Oh, $3,524.
Okay, $3,524. Not insignificant. 3,524. 3,524. Come on now, people, that's crazy stuff. 3,524. Whoa. Not only did they leave you the only envelope with the check inside, they happened to arrange themselves in the exact same order that matches the dollar amount. But here's the real question. If you didn't get the check, then what did you get? Well, team, in a moment you will open up your envelopes. You will notice there's a piece of paper inside. It's brightly colored. You can't miss it. When you take it out of the envelope, do not unfold it. Keep it folded. Just take it out of the envelope. Do that now, please. And I'll take the envelopes from you. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, miss. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Miss, we will start with you and you alone. In a moment, you will open up your piece of paper. You will read that message as written. Do not change a single word, even if it would help me. Because I believe you were destined to pick this envelope. Go ahead.
This envelope will be selected by the only lady on stage.
The only lady on stage. As far as we know. As far as we know. Sir, go ahead.
This envelope will be selected by the only man wearing glasses.
Only man wearing glasses. Unusual way to wear glasses, but wearing glasses nonetheless. Sir, step up to the plate. What does yours say?
This envelope will be selected by the only man with facial hair.
The only man with facial hair, and you are the only man with facial hair. Sir, don't move a muscle. Sir, what is your name?
Matt?
Matt? What does that say?
Oh my God.
What does it say?
This envelope will be selected by a man named Matt.
Come on now, people. Let's hear for all these folks. Come with me on stage. You guys go back to your seats. It's the lady. It's the man with glasses. It's the man with facial hair. It's a guy named Matt. Let's hear for all these folks one more time. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. There we go. Okay. So team, let's address one of those 5 questions that you have to ask yourself. Those 5 questions to determine what your purpose is here in the workplace. It's very simple. Here are the questions. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do those people want or need? And how are those people changed as a result of what you do? Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do those people want or need? And how are those people changed as a result of what you do? And I hope that you notice that through this line of questioning, only 2 of those questions are about yourself. You see, this formula forces you to be outward facing. And I have found that my enthusiasm and my happiness for my job is only maintained when I clearly know who I'm performing for, what those people want or need, and how those people are changed as a result of what I do. Now, when I'm performing for corporations these days, whether that's spicing up a sales meeting or generating some traffic to a trade show booth, I do not say that my purpose in that occasion is that I'm Ben Jackson and I perform magic for corporations because I really like card tricks and politely fooling people. No, I say I'm Ben Jackson. And I believe in helping all members of an organization better connect, foster relationships, and strengthen their message to clients. I do so through years of practice, stage time, and listening to the needs of my clients. I just so happen to be a magician. Or in the case of Central Texas College, we believe in serving our diverse global community. We do so through engaging in innovative educational opportunities. We just so happen to offer technical and vocational programs. Right? The most successful people in any field are always more concerned with the people that they serve than being served themselves. So my hope for you is this, that when you start off the fall semester, that you lead with that lens of purpose first over your work. And if you do, I'm confident that success will find you. Raise your hand if you're familiar with the name Samuel Pierpont Langley. Maybe not. One person back, yes, miss, maybe. Samuel Pierpont Langley. Now, to the uninitiated, back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of man-powered flight was the latest craze. Everyone was trying it. It was like the dot-com of the era. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had, for all intents and purposes, the perfect recipe for success. If you ask anybody nowadays, hey, why did your product or business fail? They usually give you the same three responses. Oh, we were undercapitalized. We had the wrong people. Our market conditions were poor. Samuel Pierpont Langley had none of those issues. He was awarded $50,000 from the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no issue. He held a seat at Harvard. He worked at the Smithsonian. He had access to the greatest minds that money could buy. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Sam. So why is it that we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? Well, because a couple hundred miles away, in a little town of Dayton, Ohio, were two brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright. And they had nothing of what you consider to be the perfect recipe for success. They had no money. They funded their dreams from the proceeds from their bicycle shop. No one on the Wright brothers team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. But you know what the difference was? The Wright brothers were fueled by a purpose. They realized that, hey, if we could figure out this flying machine, we could change history and serve mankind for the better. And as for Sam, well, his intentions were less noble. He wanted to get rich. He wanted to get famous. He was only concerned with the what and the how. And lo and behold, the people who worked on the Wright brothers team aligned themselves with their purpose, and they worked for them with their blood, sweat, and tears. It was reported that every time they would go out for test flights, they would bring 5 extra sets of parts because that's the amount of times they would crash before dinner. And on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And you know who was there to experience it? No one. Nobody. It was reported in the newspaper a couple days later, and for further proof that Sam was motivated by the wrong thing, the day he found out that the Wright brothers took flight, you know what he did? He quit. He didn't go up to them and say, hey guys, congratulations, allow me to help you improve upon your technology. He didn't get there first. He didn't get famous. He didn't get rich. So he quit. His passion sizzled out because it wasn't rooted into a greater purpose. Now, if you're like most of us, hey, the enthusiasm, the passion for your job will go up and go down, but it's the fortified purpose that we can all rally behind. That is the foundational solid ground that will replenish the passion for the job that you do. And as your passion continues to grow, so will your abilities. And you will not become human lobsters. You will take action. You will engage those around you, and you will continue to serve those around you to the best of your ability. And with that key purpose in mind, in conclusion, I want everyone to take out your cell phones, and we'll do one last thing to end our time together. Okay, so everyone take out your phone. Let's do this. Let's do this. Look at that. We got phones. So you got a cell phone right there. Can we borrow you? Can we borrow your phone? Give him a round of applause. Joins me on stage. Come on up here, sir. Let's hear it for him. Very good, very good, very good. Let's hear it for this man, people. Let's hear it for him. Come on up here. Very good, very good, very good. All right, sir. I'm going to take your phone from you. Okay, so we're going to end our time together very simply. I'm just going to go ahead and look through all your photos. Wow, wow. How many selfies can one man take? Seriously, sir. I wouldn't do that to you. This is your phone. If you guys have a smartphone, you know this is a contemporary magic wand, right? We walk around this thing in our pocket. It wields so much power. Sometimes we take it for granted. There's all types of apps on here. Does miraculous things every day. ESPN app. We got the Facebook app. Hey, we'll be buddies. I'll follow you. You follow me. We'll be friends. Facebook, fantastic. Freebirds, Google Maps. Let's use an app everyone can relate to. Do you have? Yes, you do. The calculator app. So, sir, we're going to generate a number. You'll do all the number crunching for us, okay? And we'll get a number for this afternoon. Sir, start us off with a 4-digit number, please. 1,286. Is that what that says?
Yes.
Yes, you take the phone, please. You hit multiply and stop typing. We'll get some more folks involved, okay? How about the lady sat right here. Another 4-digit number out loud, please. 4,444. Type that in, sir. 4444, and then hit plus and stop typing. Let's see here. Sir, what is your shoe size? 10. Why not? Let's type in 10 there, sir. Hit subtract, stop typing. How about Miss right here? Can you imagine the house that you grew up in? The number that was on the mailbox? What was that number? You can make it up, how would I know? Sure, I don't care. 707. Type in 707, sir. Hit multiply, stop typing. Sir, imagine that you're watching a baseball game. You see a guy walk up to the bat, up the plate rather. You see him swing the bat, and in that moment you see his jersey flash on the screen. What's that number that pops in your mind right now? 21. Type in 21, sir. Hit plus, stop typing. I need the help from the most intelligent looking man in this room. Sir. Who do you think we should use? I'm just joking. I want you. Sir, between 1 and 10? Between 1 and 10? Between 5. Fantastic. Type in 5, sir. Hit multiply. And sir, on stage, do you have a password on your phone? Type in your password. Don't say it out loud. Just type in your password, then hit equals, please. We're going to jot this down for the entire group, okay? It's okay if I see. Okay. Go ahead and read that out loud. 819, 819, 301. Okay, give him a round of applause. Goes back to his seat. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. You're the best. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Well, team, this is the end of the program. And I told you that we were going to end this program the way we started off this program. And that was with me showing you an envelope of mystery. Give me an ooh. Ooh. Give me an ah. Ah. I told you that at the beginning there was something inside that cannot tamper with, something that had to be sealed shut for your protection. The time to open it up is now, and for this I need a man. I need a man who can read. Real good life. Sir on the end with the big beard. Yes, you, sir. Leave your seat and join me on stage. Here with this man. Come on up here, sir. You're my man. You are my man. Okay. So we're going to break the seal. Be so kind to do the honors for us. Reach inside, remove the contents. And the winner is. Just kidding, look at this. Look at this. That's a lot of text. If you ask any performer or speaker, what do you do before every program? You'll probably get all different types of answers. But for me, I do one thing. I sit in my office, I think about the presentation I'm about to give, and I write a letter to myself. What does that say?
Love Ben.
Love Ben. Yes, see, I write a letter to myself, and I kind of have like a vision board, if you will. I kind of think about the program's about to occur, and I write down my hopes and aspirations as to how the program might go. Now, sometimes I'm spot on. Sometimes I'm way off. But we won't know, sir, unless you read it, an innocent bystander. So, would you be so kind? Take that. I want you to read this out loud, slower than you think you should, and a little bit louder than you think you should. Take your time, no rush. Go ahead.
It's Tuesday morning, and I'm sitting in my office in Houston thinking about the wonderful meetings scheduled in a few hours for Central Texas College. The fall semester is right around the corner. Get excited.
That's right.
The sessions will be great, the attendees will be lovely, and if all goes well, the following events will occur.
That's right. If all goes well, the following events will occur. Now, I have no idea who's going to come to these meetings, what thoughts you'll have, what decisions you'll make. It makes every show unique for me.
We'll start off simply. A man from the audience will join me on stage and offer the use of one of his bills from his wallet. To prove its singularity, he will sign the bill with the name Chad.
Oh, you get out of here. That's crazy. That's exactly what happened. A man came on stage and he signed his name, and you decided on the spot, you just call yourself Chad, right? Chad, C-H-A-D. That's insane. Crazy. Keep going.
Later in the program, a member of the audience will be passionate, take action, and perform their own magic on stage with a can of Dr. Pepper in red Solo cups. When given the opportunity to share a Dr. Pepper with anyone on the planet, they will feel a strong pull towards the one and only Madonna.
Madonna, not Tim Allen or Michael Keaton. Madonna. Crazy, sir. Crazy. Okay.
To ramp up the level of impossibility, someone will simply think of a number between 1 and 1,000.
Who was that? Oh, Miss in Red. And you thought of? 599.
My gut tells me that the number will be 599.
OMG, people. OMG. That's crazy. Keep going.
Lastly, someone will be given the opportunity to think of absolutely anything.
And that was you, sir. Remember, I didn't even pick you. It was random selection. You thought of any topic in the world. You didn't write it down. You didn't say it out loud. You didn't whisper it. Free determination for the first time in a loud, clear voice. What thing popped into your head? Compound interest. Compound interest.
When asked to name the topic, they will hopefully admit to thinking of compound interest.
That is crazy. Let it out there, people. That is crazy. Stop. Are you kidding me? Oh, there's one more thing. What does that say?
P.S. My apologies are extended to the man who lent me the $1 bill. I'm so sorry. You will be in my thoughts. And you know what they say, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Love it.
Give her a round of applause. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. That's for you, little souvenir. Wow. That's right, team. You've heard the old expression, when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. And if you remember, that's actually how the program was started. It was a piece of fruit that rolled out of a sign, right? A little ball of citrus that was birthed into existence. Miss, does that smell like a lemon? Yes, yes. Team, when you tell your friends about this meeting, and you will tell your friends about this meeting, you're going to remember this exact moment in time when the magician Ben Jackson took a knife, took a piece of fruit, and pierced that piece of fruit. Because somehow, some way, deep inside the very bowels, was something green. No, please, calm down, calm down. Something green protruding inside the very bowels of that lemon. Underneath the fruit, underneath the pulp, underneath the juice, a banknote. A $20 bill covered in pulp, covered in juice, a little red ink on there. It has to be the one, the only, the one that says C-H-A-D. That's Chad right there. Come on out for Chad. Come on, Chad. Oh my goodness, Chad. I didn't forget about you. You were all fun. Very good, very good. Oh my goodness gracious. And team, last but not least, I want you to know that the greatest gift you can give somebody, isn't your money, it's your time. And that's what you gave me this afternoon. the gift of your time, because time is a finite resource. We only have so much of it, right? The fact that you chose to direct your attention up here and give me your precious time means a whole heck of a lot. So my hope for you, Central Texas College, is that as the fall semester gets kicked off, that you lead with purpose first. And you will discover that that passion will flow into your teaching, into your classrooms. You will engage those students, get them motivated, get them excited, because today and today only will never happen again. These fine folks in these seats sitting right here, hearing this message, will never happen again. The time to lead with purpose is now. It is right now. Because today is the 20th day, 20, of the 8th month, August 20, 2019. And 3:01. Look at your phones right now. Look at your phones. What time is it? 3:01. Come on now, people. 3:01. Right here on the dot. 3:01. That's all we're going to have. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. You got me, man. Wow. Thank you very much. You guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We had a great day yesterday. Oh my God, we got so much done. That was just awesome. So, okay, I'm ready to introduce our first presentation. We want to welcome the whole institutional accountability and curriculum support staff. They're all here. Woo! So we have Dr. Robin Garrett. She's the Deputy Chancellor for Academic and Student Success. And we'll have Stephanie LeGree Roberts. She's the Dean for Institutional Accountability and Curriculum Support.
I neglected to give you a quick update on Senate Bill 25. The Chancellor mentioned House Bill 3, and another nice long one that's full of regulations for us. There's many, believe me, there's about 50 that we have to deal with, but Senate Bill 25 is very, very important for us, and it has two things that directly affect our operations as well as you. One of them is in Senate Bill 25 and in another House bill about advising dual credit students by the time they reach 15 semester credit hours. We have to advise every single dual credit student, whether they're here, online, in the service area, wherever they happen to be, and get them on a program plan. Okay? That is going to be a tremendous amount of work, and typically Janelle Deal in public education, handles all of the dual credit advising. My advisors are going to have to step up. We're going to have to take on that and help support and get this thing rolling. The other part of Senate Bill 25 that is something I'm going to ask for your input on is the core. I don't know if you were aware, but there was some proposed legislation from the universities to some of the legislatures to change the core to be 30, right now our core is 42 hours, to be 30 hours with 12 hours discipline specific in the core that would be decided by the university that the student would be transferring to. Well, first of all, that would mean that we would have to have 50 different cores, because each university, as we well know, is not going to be on the same page with those 12 hours that they're requiring. So we fought it, a lot of people fought it, all of the chief academic officers were at TAG, which is kind of another body that helps support the coordinating board and give information, really supports the chancellors and presidents. But they called all the chief academic officers together to give our opinion on it, and we stomped and cried like babies. But the ultimate legislation that was passed in Senate Bill 25 was that the coordinating board was going to form a committee to make this recommendation. Well, guess what? I got assigned to the committee. So I need your help. I need you to tell me what your thoughts are on this so that I can bring it to the committee and with some authority, not just me saying, I don't like this. I want the feedback from you, from the faculty, to be able to tell them how you feel about this. At first, when they said go to a 30-hour core, I thought, well, you know, that's not bad. There's only one other state in the United States that has a higher or larger core than we do, and that's Tennessee. It's 42 hours. Most of them are much less than 42 hours. So I thought, well, okay, that gives the student more options. Well, you know, with more options, that kind of gives the student ultra flexibility. I think where this would work with the 30 and the 12 is in engineering, right, Deborah? Because of the prerequisites, because of things like that. And initially, and I need your help with this, my thoughts are maybe we have a core specific for things that have a lot of prerequisites like engineering that might be different from our general core. I don't know, but I really need your guidance. So please give me your feedback, give me your input, write me an email, give me a call, ask to meet with me, whatever. But my first meeting on this is in September, later on, I think September 25th. So if I can get your help, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay? All right.
Now, I have a quick
yes,
question.
yes.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
You said DC students have to be on a degree plan?
Yes.
Is that after they take the 15 hours?
It should be by the time they get 15
By
hours.
the time they get 15 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, will they designate that 30 hours, or will we designate that 30 hours?
I'm assuming, and you know what that means, that they will eliminate some of the areas. You know, we have all these areas that the FCAs within the core right now, the 010, 020, they may combine some, they may reduce the number of credit hours, I don't know, but that's for us to make the recommendation on that committee. What?
Or there might be lots of
Ors, like,
There might be
this
lots
or
of
that
ors,
or that.
this or.
Well, it may be like it is now, where we have to justify what goes into those categories. So they might not change that, but the other thing I forgot to tell you about is it's not just community colleges on this committee. We are a minority on the committee. The majority of the members are from universities. So,
I would
you know how that's gonna go.
I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
just off the top of my head, one comment, it would make the field of study easier to.
That's right. The field of study, especially in engineering and music, it would make it easier to implement, definitely. Any other questions? Okay, good deal. I have the honor of giving you the most boring presentation you will probably have this entire session, because I get to be the popo and the compliance person, and I know that's not how you're supposed to start a presentation by setting you down, but I just want to give you that caveat right up front. This is not going to be fun. Okay. All right. Why do we have to do a 5-year interim report for SACS? First of all, who knows what SACS is? Anybody? Some of us? Some want me to tell you? SACS is our accrediting body. They are the real popos. They're the ones that tell us that we can offer financial aid. Okay, the Department of Ed does that, but without them saying, yes, they are good, we can't offer financial aid. So the Department of Ed relies on SACS, and I always say SACS because I'm from the old school when SACS was SACS. Now it's SACS COC. And I was actually corrected by Belle Wheeler when she was here last month, but it is the Southern Association of College and Schools Commission on Colleges. It's SACS COC. I can't say SACS COC, I just say SACS. So please bear with me, it's that. SACS has two sides for the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools also has the side for public education, K-12, and then the higher ed is the Commission of Colleges. All right, so why do we have to do a 5th-year interim report? We just went through this, or I didn't, y'all did, about 5 years ago, and it was a major ordeal when SACS came in and reviewed everything and then said what we needed to improve, and then my predecessor went through, Dana, and she had to do all that work, and Stephanie's team, and everybody was involved with this, and we were really really getting it together, and they had to go to Europe and they did all these wonderful things 5 years ago. Why do we have to do it again? It's only supposed to be 10 years. Every 10 years you're reaccredited, right? Well, that's how it used to be. The Department of Ed, again, the people that give us the student aid, said that's not often enough. That's not often enough. How do we know that they don't play games during those 10 years? We want them to do it sooner. So SAC said, okay, we'll do an interim report every 5 years, and it won't be as extensive. There are 95 principles that we have to address with our 10-year. In the 5-year, there are 23. Oh, that should be a piece of cake. Yeah, compared to 95 it is, but it's still daunting. And I'm going to go through all 23 of them with you, I promise. So that's why, I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. But a lot of them, the majority of them do relate to what you do every day. So that's why it's important for you to understand what we are responsible for to maintain our accreditation and remain in compliance. Okay? So that is the why behind why we have to do this. And I understand yesterday y'all talked about the whys, and I wasn't even in here. So see, look at this. This is the line perfectly. All right, so on our 5th-year interim report, we have to do a few things, and this is good. This is good. That we have to tell them about our history and characteristics. We have to list our degrees, our certificates, and whether or not we do ESL and what we do with that. And we have to list all our off-campus instructional locations. This gives them some background about CTC, so when they're reviewing why we think we're so wonderful, they can put it in perspective. We have to tell them about our distance and correspondence education, and you'll see one of the principles that we have to address with that. Any outside accreditation other than SACS, and any sanctions that we may have been put on in the past 5 years, we have to reveal to them. And we have to reveal whether or not we have a good or bad relationship with the Department of Ed. All right, before I get into the specific principles, let me read you the procedures that go along with this 5-year review. It is a desk review, typically, and I think I may have mentioned that yesterday. We fill out all this stuff and we say that we're in compliance, and I'm digging here, and we send it in. Well, I told you yesterday that when I get that letter in October, it's going to tell me what semesters, what terms I need to give them your faculty qualifications for all the classes you've taught, plus any locations, offsite locations that they might want to visit. Typically in a 5-year, they don't come to see you. But because we've had some new locations and some corrections from previous years submitted, there's a good chance they're going to want to come check us out. I don't know. We will see in October. But once that's submitted, I'm just going to read this to you because it's so much easier to just read it. The 5th-year interim reports are reviewed by a 5th-year interim committee during the June and December meetings of the SACS Board of Trustees. Should the committee determine that an institution has failed to demonstrate compliance with one or more of the selected standards, so one of those 23, okay, the committee will refer the institution to review by the SACS Board. And they say SACS COC. That referral report will be reviewed by one of the committees on compliance and reports at its meetings in June or December. Should that committee determine that the institution had failed to demonstrate compliance with one or more of the referred standards, the institution would be required to submit a monitoring report, which would begin the institution's 2-year monitoring period. The 5th-year interim committee will also review the institution's report on the impact of its most recent quality enhancement plan. We heard all about that yesterday. Or documentation of impact of ongoing quality enhancement initiatives. The committee will determine whether the institution's impact report is acceptable or unacceptable. Should the committee determine the impact report was unacceptable, the institution will be referred to the SACS Board of Trustees, and the board will review a revised impact report. So what's a monitoring report? Anybody know what that is? A monitoring? What that is they give you an opportunity, if they put you on monitoring, to correct, which is good. Of these principles, these 23 principles, there are 4 or 5, maybe 4, that are considered a core requirement. If we are deemed unacceptable on a core requirement, that throws us into sanction. The other ones, it's basically just on the monitoring, we should be okay. After 2 years, we'd be okay. So I don't think we're going to have any problems with the any sanctions. I don't think any of our core requirements are any issues. But I want to tell you that that's not good, because there's two types of sanctions. There's a warning and another one that the other one basically you're not going to recover from. A warning you can recover from. We're not going to have those issues, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood the seriousness of accreditation and where that puts us. We'll be fine. We will be fine. I guarantee you, we will be fine. But I want to be sure that you understand what is required with these principles so that we stay fine. Okay? All right. So in the 5-year, the administrative and academic officers will be evaluated for appropriate experience. So typically they look at from the dean level up to make sure that I have the experience to do the job that I'm assigned. And they want to make sure that. So we have to provide that information and justify all of the academic and administrative people. This is directly related to you. We have to prove that we employ an adequate number of faculty and to support the mission and goals, and that we assign appropriate responsibility, meaning qualified people to run our programs. So we have to justify that in section 6. We have to be sure that we identify, evaluate, and publish the goals and outcomes for student achievement. And as it relates to our programs. They give us an opportunity to show multiple measures. It doesn't have to just be based on graduation, grades, any of that, but I did want to give you, this by the way is the resource manual for this that helps decide what how we need to prove it. But 8.1 was what had something very interesting written about it. It said, an institution needs to be able to document its success with respect to student achievement. In doing so, it may use a broad range of criteria to include, as appropriate, enrollment data, retention, graduation, or course completion, job placement rates, state licensing examinations, student portfolios, or other means of demonstrating achievement goals. And the reason I'm kind of focusing on this is because that relates exactly to what you do, your student achievement goals. So we have to be able to prove that what we say we're doing, we're actually doing. So, anyway, give you that detail. This one relates to our program outcomes, student learning outcomes with programs. This is the only one that I have a little bit of concern with all the principles that we have to address for our 5th year review. We've had several starts on doing our program level student outcomes and several starts and stops. And this principle is why we formed the CAPER team. This principle is why you're going to see the people that are involved in the CAPER team to help us get all of our program level outcomes set up. And it's not just a matter of setting up the outcomes. We have to prove full cycles of review. So we have to establish the outcomes, the student learning outcomes for our programs. We have to establish how we're going to assess those outcomes. We have to assess them, evaluate the assessment of them, put in measures to correct or improve the outcomes that we discovered or what we discovered with our assessment, and go through the whole cycle again to show that we are seeking improvement and meeting 8.2a. This is the one that I have the biggest concern with, because we have some programs that I think we'll be fine with, and we have some that we don't even have the first set of outcomes for. And that's troublesome for me. So this is the only one that I think we may be questioned on. Just depends on how we write it, what we give them, but this is important. So if you're involved with setting up your program level outcomes for your program, please get together. Because we don't have time to get through a second cycle. And we're about to start writing for our 5th year. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I am on this one. This is where this is the one that keeps me up at night. Okay. Our educational programs, we work all the time on them. The CRC meeting is inundated with your changes to ensure that we have a coherent course of study and compatible with what we need to do to make our students successful. So I don't have any problem with proving 9.1. This one is a long one, but this is the easiest one. We just have to prove that we offer programs that have 60 hours or more. Done. Okay? And that we explain any equivalencies we honor as far as semester credit hours. That's it. This is easy. We have our academic calendar online. We have our cost of attendance, our grading policies, and refund policies. So this is another easy one. We're going to be in total compliance with this one. And then archive catalogs. We've got those out there on the web. So this is going to be another easy one. Our admissions policies, no problem with this. Our recruitment materials, all that, we're great there. This one, we're going to be okay with this one because we use BioSig. Okay? And I'm going to say that again. Please don't tell me we don't use BioSig. We have to use BioSig. That is the only method that we have to ensure or to demonstrate compliance. I don't know that we can totally ensure, but demonstrate compliance that the student in an online class that has registered for the class is the student that's taking your tests. So, if you're not putting BioSig on your tests because it's a problem, your students have issues with it, we don't have any way of knowing that that student is the one that is taking the test. So please, don't put it on like that, just that first little assignment that you have to make sure that the student does it. Because you know students, and even if we use BioSig, they're going to find a way around it, but this is the only way we can say, and this is acceptable by the Department of Ed, because this isn't only a SACS rule, this is a Department of Ed rule, that we can show that they're using this method, this biometric method, to prove that they're the student. BioSig needs to be on every assessment. It really does. Otherwise, we cannot prove that the student took that test. That's my mantra for this one. We have policies for awarding credit and how much credit we award. No problem on this one. This is a tricky one for some institutions. I don't know that we have this, and we've been very careful in our implementation of other schools that want to use us. 10.9 is put in place to, and Ronnie knows this because we went back and forth on this with something that he was looking at implementing. Many schools out there that are not accredited and cannot receive federal financial aid look to schools that are accredited to award credit for the work that they did and run the students through the college so that they can get financial aid. And so another school would teach the class, but they would register through us, they would teach it, and we'd award the credit. That's a problem for SACS. That's a big problem for SACS. And if we were going to do something like that, we'd have to get pre-approval, and they would look at it with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that we have control over the curriculum. We have a faculty member ensuring that whatever they're teaching is correct. Even if we don't have that program, it could be something in, I can't even think of what it is, but something that we don't even have. We would still have to be sure that we have somebody ensuring the quality of that. So this is one that catches institutions that are being innovative, and innovative is not a bad word, but SACS wants to be sure that that innovation is not just a sideways way of getting somebody that's not accredited to have that kind of stamp of approval. This is a big one, 12.1, and this is one of those core requirements. This is one of those that will get us, along with the faculty qualifications, 12.1 will get us in trouble with, it's a core requirement if we can't meet it, but we will be fine. We are good on this one. The institution provides appropriate academic and student support programs, services, and activities consistent with its mission. And Julie stepped out for a minute, but you heard her yesterday, and she is all over all of our support for our students, and you provide tons of support for our students. The library provides tons of support. We've got support everywhere. You've got labs in your departments, you've got tutoring, you've got things that we can write to. We can give them so much information in 12.1, their eyes are gonna spin. So I think we're gonna be okay. Oops, did I skip one? Yeah. Student complaints, we have procedures for that. We have online forms for student complaints, so we should be good with that. Title IV, yeah, we audit our financial aid. We're compliant with all that, so I think we'll be fine on that one. Physical facilities, resources, both on and off campus. This is one that gets institutions also, because like us, many institutions have a lot of off-site locations. Do you know that SACS requires that off-site locations have the same resources available to students as students on the main campus? You say, how in the world? Well, obviously with the library having online databases, we can justify it. We justify it when we do our approvals for off-site locations. I have to submit what's called a substantive change document anytime we decide to offer a class, well, over 25% of a program at an off-site location. I have to get, for 25 to 49%, I have to get approval of a notification, and then for 49% and above, I have to do a full prospectus of how we are going to support those students at an off-site location. And we've been very successful with supporting that so far. So I don't see any issue with this, but that's all part of the consideration when we go to teach something somewhere else. We can't just do a pop-up teaching site, as we found out with a location for Burnett, right, Tammy? And so we were doing that, and I went there to, Tammy invited me to graduation, and I'm sitting there going, I don't think this is on the off-site location list. So we submitted it, and we're okay. But if you're going to do a pop-up location or anything like that, I need to be sure that we get approval from SACS first. Healthy, safe, and secure environment for all members of the campus community, not just students. I think we do that. And this is how we accurately represent our accreditation. We shouldn't have any problem with that because we're accredited. What they mean by this one is if we were on sanction or we had programs that weren't approved yet by SACS, that we accurately represent that they are not approved by SACS yet. Because if we want to implement a new program, that has to go through SACS also for approval. So if by chance we are standing one up and I say, okay, well, we can start it, but we don't have SACS approval, we have to make notification in any and all documentation, flyers, everything, that it is not yet approved by SACS. And of course, you don't get financial aid for it yet either, or veteran benefits, any of that yet. So it's difficult to start a program until it's approved, as some of you know also. Again, all the appropriate standards, everything for a face-to-face class has to apply to distance learning, branch campuses and off-campus instructional sites. I think this one's kind of repeated several times. And this one's kind of strange, but that we're not lying to the Department of Ed in any way, shape, or form. Now, and then you heard all about the QEP. So we have to do that 10-page impact report for the 5th year interim